Howdy there again, campers. We're back again to give you the IM Sports Fall 2015 preview. I'm Brent Hall. This is my co-host, Wesley Barger.
Hi, good to see you all again. And without further delay, Brent, what do you say we dive right into our topics?
Let's do it.
Cheers. So, first on the list, everyone is very concerned about flag football this season. A lot of expectations for the campers, with the co-ed team winning and men's team winning championships last season. So, let's dive right in and talk about the keys to repeat. I understand that last year both the male and female sexes did excellent, and do you think there's a chance that both of them can repeat that performance this year?
I think definitely coming on the female side. I mean, they had such a strong performance last year. I don't know if they can keep it up again this year, but also we've seen them playing other sports, and they haven't gone down at all, maybe even gone up. So, you know, the key to winning co-rec sports is obviously the play of the females, so it doesn't even really matter if the guy...
In fact, I think that's the reason we won the national championship last year. Really, the females of Corey's campers are far and away the best part of our team. And so I agree that if they can keep it up, we definitely have a shot at repeating in football. So, moving on, the second key to repeating, I believe at least, Brent, is impressive quarterback play. Last year, you know, he doesn't always get a lot of credit. Perhaps he gets too much, actually. But Brandon Roberts really did lead the team from behind center. So, what do you think about his chances to repeat that kind of performance this year, Brent?
Yeah, this has been a really odd quarterback situation, similar to the national champions of Division I football.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, they have about 4 good quarterbacks, I think. You know, I think the whole roster could probably play that position. It's a pretty easy play. B-Rob, obviously, the returner for the male side. You got Allison coming back, which she will probably get the position on the female side when they have those close plays where you obviously don't want to put a guy at quarterback and eliminate half your receivers, so...
Yeah, Brent, let's actually go into the rules right now since you touched on it. In co-rec football, there's what's called open and closed plays. On open plays, any sex can throw to any other sex, and it doesn't really matter. There's no regulations. But on closed plays, if a male threw on the last open play to a male, a female has to be involved in some way, either as the quarterback, the thrower, or as the receiver. So Corey's campers last year put that strategy to great effectiveness using Allison Heiser. But you know, I've also seen a lot of talent out of Sarah Harlow behind center. She's got a rocket, a cannon for an arm. So I'd like to see her get another chance this year.
She could. I was talking to Coach Wesley Barger, and he said that what he wants to do is, I mean, that both of them will definitely get some playing time at that position. He said Allison may be a little bit ahead of her on the depth chart, but he said it's still open for Sarah to take from Allison.
That's good inside reporting, Brent. And I've talked to offensive coordinator Schweitzer. He's echoed those statements, in fact. And yeah, we'll see. But I would like to, you know, just bringing it back to the quarterback play. You mentioned that quarterback situation that there might be, even despite his championship run last year, Brandon might be replaced at quarterback.
Yeah, so last year they had the 2 quarterback system. One played one half, one played the other, where Brian Schweitzer would come in, but also now you got the return of Tom Tresh coming back to the sports realm. He led the indoor team to a championship. He's going to be in the mix there too. And then also Mike Suter, just overall athlete, similar to number 1 from the team from Columbus. And I think Mike's talents are better off at wide receiver. Like just take advantage of his athleticism. Tom Tresh, great arm. Brandon, tall kid. I think you got to put him at receiver. So I think they'll all get some playing time there. But I think Tresh is the man to take the job this time.
It'll really be interesting to see how that plays out through camp. But you know, I've been on the receiving end of a few tight spirals from Mike Suter, so I would definitely like to see him get a shot. You know, they've all got leadership, so it really will be interesting to see what happens. with that. And also, the last issue, I hear there's a key off-season signing, Brent. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that for the football team?
Yeah, so, maybe coming in with a little bit of sourness to him because his team was eliminated by the Campers last year, but Joe Hanisco is definitely going to be an impact player on this team, probably put him at the running back spot. We'll get into it later, but, tempers definitely rise in the games that Joe is in. Boiling point of, 0.
He does seem to, have anger issues.
Yeah, but if he can, Coach Barger can keep the tempers on the DL, I think that they can probably get the most talent out of him. The only question I have is, Wes Barger is on the team also, and he's a bit of a hothead too. And you got 3 or 4 main hotheads.
One team.
Yeah, so you got Wes, Jack, Ryan, and Joe. If you take 3 of those, they're all over the age of 30. Maybe not Jack, but he's getting up there. I just think people are getting turned into grumpy old men at a young age now.
It's true. I think just there's maybe a little bit of maturity that comes with wanting to win every game too, and so you just really hate to see some of your last intramural sports experiences get ruined by the referees, Brent. But appreciate the analysis there, and also, do you think that Joe's a chance at leading the team in touchdown receptions this year?
Touchdown receptions.
Who's gonna beat him?
Joe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking probably Catherine.
Yeah.
I think she'll probably be the leading touchdown candidate. She was the #1 candidate receiving touchdowns last year. So.
Do you think there's a luck component to any of that though? Maybe just being in the right place at the right time, but not really having that much skill in flag football?
You know what they say is luck is when opportunity meets something.
No, I've heard exactly what you're talking about. It's at the tip of my tongue too.
Opportunity, and I just drawing a blank here on camera, but I think Catherine's just a superb athlete, and I think luck has nothing to do about it.
Let's move on to soccer, Brent. We have a couple impact players to talk about. Let's start with Autumn. She's actually, to rededicate herself to the sport, moved in with another member of the soccer team, Anna, who's really kept her on the straight and narrow, had her focused on practices and getting back to basics. So I think we can expect a lot from her this season, despite choosing other things over intramural sports last season, and what truly was one of the biggest disappointments of the intramural sports season.
I think she's really found herself again in her life and life decisions. Got caught up trying to do the schoolwork and stuff last year. Putting her priorities not in order, and I think the move in with Anna is definitely going to help her. Anna seemed to be pretty into the sports, and I think that's a good move for Autumn. Autumn's superb athlete and probably the best player on the soccer team, so it's good to see that her heart is back in the right place.
That's well said, Brent. And moving on to Tommy G, another standout player. He had a lot of talent there, but he didn't really produce with the statistics last year. What do you think about his prospects this year on the team?
I think he's going to do great. Word of mouth sound like he's pretty good. I saw him out playing on the soccer field last week. Dude can play soccer. The only question is his commitment to the team. As we get into this right now, there's some questions of, is he going to be suspended for the first 2 games of the season after biting players at the end of last season near the goalposts?
Yeah,
definite Suarez into him.
He thought he could get away with it. I'm not really sure. It's a desperation move at the end of games, but it's definitely going to be hard for the team to miss Tommy G for at least a couple games.
Yeah.
What do you know about softball, Brent?
Softball. So first game this Thursday. A little bit of controversy. We'll get into that a little bit later, but just to preview it, top players. I'll get my notes out over here. I think Tom Tresh coming back, the great return of the Tresh. Ashley A played really well last year at catcher. John's going to be out with his ankle injury. And then Captain T-Spitz also in the lineup. However, there's been some questions if Ashley A, Darcy, and Aaron Sprute are going to have to miss the first game. Talked to Coach T-Spitz yesterday, and she said that she's thinking about suspending them for the first game, looking into it further, just because.
I heard they missed practice. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they missed practice.
I think, I'm glad you brought that up because I think we're going to bring in a special panelist to speak on that a little more later.
We will.
But an interesting development indeed, missing practices this close to the start of the season.
Yep.
Do you expect good things from the softball team this year? Like, I feel like they had an early exit from the playoffs last year.
Well, yeah, if you remember last year, they had, 8 people on their roster start the season, and they won their first 3 games. Once they got a full roster, they never won a single game after that. So I don't know if this is too many cooks in the kitchen situation where you actually want less people out on the field or something. But I think with the return of Tom Trush coming back, you have Ryan. Brian will be there at some games. Questions about Brandon and his play, but don't count him out. And then the 3 other players we mentioned earlier. I think this team will definitely make a run in the playoffs. Dark horse candidate for championship there.
The biggest difference in the softball team between this year and last year, aside from Tom Trush maybe, is the fact that Brent Hull is not playing on the team. And of all the things that might influence their factors for success, I believe that's the largest. There's just a lot of chemistry issues with Brent last year and coordination issues. So we'll have to see really what happens, but I definitely feel that we really won't be missing him in left field, not really in the slightest.
Definitely addition by subtraction there.
So moving on, volleyball. Some question marks. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Nicole. I heard she was the leader last year in digs. Is that
yeah,
accurate?
league leader in digs last year.
Impressive stat.
Led the indoor team in the winter semester to a championship run. Definitely the heart soul of the volleyball team for the campers. And I was talking to her the other day, and she said she plans to have even more this year. And they said anything less than a championship will be a disappointment.
The only thing maybe getting in the way of that is the only male on their team, Bill. Last year, I know John played deep. We'll talk more about him later.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate situation there. But Bill might be alone as he's currently the only male signed up for volleyball. A lot of question marks as to whether he will be joined by his running mates last year or not.
But you know what Kathy said is Bill is good with the ladies, and Bill confirmed it by saying that's what they say. And so I think he could probably play pretty well with these girls and form a good team and take them far.
We'll just see how the chemistry between Bill and the ladies takes them in the playoffs. Indeed,
I'm really excited to see that.
We'll see what happens.
Bill in action.
Bill in action is a sight to behold. So rounding out our sports. We have Ultimate Frisbee. Interesting situation there. We expected a lot of good things from the team. Currently, we have 3 star players signed up. Brent Hull, Sarah O, and unfortunately John Deep. Some recent injury to John will prevent him from playing this season. So really, they're in dire straits. They're desperately looking for someone to pick up the slack. I think you need 8 players to field an Ultimate Frisbee team.
I have no idea because I haven't really looked into it because there's only 3 people signed up. I figure that's probably not enough. But what I've heard is that they've been looking in the free agency, and we're actually talking with Katrina about a 2-year deal.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get into this? Have you heard about
I've actually, recently talking to league officials and Katrina's agent, She's looking for guaranteed money. I'm not sure that teams are willing to put that up yet, but they're both sides are at the table, at the bargaining table. We'll see. It's just really again, it's going to depend how much the ultimate frisbee and volleyball teams are going to need a free agent coming into the regular season here. But good things from the free agent wire. Glad to see Katrina out on the market, open market. So yeah.
Well, Wes, as you know, a lot of people are have their fantasy football drafts this weekend. So, we got Wes Barger, the expert on all fantasy draft stocks, and
Thanks, Brent.
He's gonna help you out filling out your team's draft lobby.
Let's head up to the board.
Let's do it.
So right now we have 3 names to keep an eye on this season, and I'm going to tell you whether their stock is trending up or down. So starting with Brian, outstanding receiver last year, perhaps the team leader in yards.
Oh yeah.
Just racked up the targets, can play quarterback in a pinch. That sort of multi-position functionality is really going to help you. You can give him a start quarterback some weeks, wide receiver other weeks. So his draft stock is rising. We're going to give that the green arrow up. It's definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward. Moving on to Allison. Had a fantastic year last year. Right now she's projected as an early second-round pick. I don't like her that high. I think you can wait on Allison just because there's so much expectation. Is she really going to live up? Are those astronomical numbers really that sustainable one more year, Brent?
Talking to coaches, I mean, she hasn't even shown up to basketball the last few times. I'm saying draft stock.
These are real issues, so we're going to give her the red down arrow. Maybe wait on that a little bit. Sarah Harlow, however, lots to like about that player.
Upside.
Lots of upside. Didn't really see, almost thought about redshirting her last year. Didn't get a ton of playing time, but coaches really like what they see. She seems to have really stayed in shape over the offseason and seems to has come ready to play so far in camp.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Barger the other day, and he said that no one has worked harder this offseason than Sarah Harlow.
And that is why we're going to give her the green up arrow. So thumbs up.
2 green up arrows.
2 green up arrows, in fact. So we'll see you guys in the fantasy draft lobbies, and good luck on your teams this year. So Brent, next segment.
Yeah, we're going to send it out to our athletic trainer and all special breaking news updates, Allie Hoyt.
Allie Hoyt, we'll send it to you.
Thanks, Brent and Wes. So, on to injuries. Well, his upper extremities are healing nicely. Tom Tresh has now been said to have a hip injury. No one knows exactly what's wrong yet because he refuses to go to the doctors until season's over. Anna, athlete extraordinaire Stinton, has an unsolved mystery of back and rib issues going on. So, we need more information until we can actually identify what's wrong. The enemies rejoice while the Corey's campers are mourning the loss of John Deep, as he is out for the season, folks, with an extreme ankle injury. So this will be a big impact to Corey's campers, but you know what? When one falls, others have to rise. Now, as we all know, the newcomer Joe has a temper tantrum, as has already been said. So while many are excited about his talent, some of us fear that he might not be able to control himself, and if he gets kicked out of a game again, well, that's going to be detrimental to the football team. As much as Joe can't handle his temper, we also have a couple others that have been mentioned too, along with Ryan and Wes. We're taking a class poll on the combination of these 3, Joe, Ryan, and Wes, and how many unsportsmanlike conduct calls they're going to receive this season. So you can place your bets on the GVSU DPT Class of 2017 Facebook page. Back to you guys at the station.
Thanks, Allie. Well, I guess it brings us to the segment of the week, Truth or Truth.
My favorite segment.
And of course, we cannot do this without our gossip analyst, Allie Hoyt, so we're just going to bring her back on the set.
Hi again, guys.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
So, what we're going to talk about this week is the scandal. Scandal.
If you want to call it a scandal. I mean, we brought Allie on, so it must be a little scandalous.
It is pretty scandalous, and yeah, we're just going to get into it. So truth or truth, Jamie B ends up playing with a different team this year.
Well, I do think that she did do that last year. She was on a separate team for half the season, Brent, and didn't really trade over to our team until like halfway through. It was a good asset to the team, but she was definitely missing a lot from not playing with the team for that first half. So I'm not really sure which way to go on this one. Allie, what do you think?
Truth or truth?
Well, guys, I think truth.
So that's it for this. Let's move on to buy or sell right now.
All right, bye.
Buy or sell. The combo of Ryan and Joe will jeopardize a repeat football championship.
I'm going to buy here. I think those guys put their two heads together, and tempers could really get easily. You need a certain amount of sportsmanship points to get into the playoffs, which is 3 or more. And I think with these guys on the team, they might be disqualified after the first game of the season.
I mean, you're really only, 1 or 2 incidents away from losing that many sportsmanship points. So I'm going to buy it too, but for slightly different reasons. I just think there's going to be some chemistry issues there. They play a very similar role on the field, very similar athletes. So we'll see if they can coexist.
Two hard-headed people too.
Very, yeah, couldn't agree more.
Buy or sell. Patrick will have a profound impact despite not playing organized soccer in over a decade.
I'm going to sell this, and it pains me to do so, but it pains me to do so after seeing him juggle a soccer ball at the combined class picnic. He really looks like he's got some nice touch. And there's just too many question marks there for me. I haven't seen him do much. He can fly planes. I don't know what that means if he can, run an offense or make some good decisions on the pitch.
I'm actually going to buy here, Wes. I think the older people on this team are lacking, and I think that probably having one more older person over the age of 30 is going to positively impact the team. It's not like you can have all your older players be that bad.
That's true. I mean, fitness is definitely an issue, so it'll be good to have an extra set of lungs out there. Yeah.
Buy or sell. Jack, over 3.5 red and yellow cards combined this soccer season.
I'm buying that. I mean, if I could take a loan out of the bank to buy that with more money, I would do that. Because, I mean, if we're talking, that's one game where Jack just loses it completely, gets 2 yellows and a red, we're already at 3. I mean, if he doesn't get kicked out of the intramural sports by then I feel like his next game he's probably going over. So I'm gonna buy that. He's a sharp player, but pretty aggressive on the field.
I'm going to sell here, and I'm not giving Jack any credit here by any means. I don't think he's got the self-control to stay under 3.5 yellow/red cards. I think it's going to be his teammates taking him out of the game and putting him in the car until the game is finished to go back home.
That does make sense. I was questioning your logic at first, but it makes sense.
Buy or sell. Brandon, legitimate softball pitcher.
I am going to sell on this one. He's not. We picked him as the number 1 seed in the cornhole tournament, which is an underhand game, and he disappointed us for one. And I can easily just see him taking a step towards the plate and turning his ankle and being out for the rest of the season.
Well, we know he's an injury risk. Do you see him? Do you buy him getting injured at some point this softball season, throwing a softball underhanded?
Definitely buy.
Buying that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy our first question that Brandon actually is a legitimate softball pitcher. He kind of just made himself the softball pitcher, didn't really put it to a team vote and just kind of took over. But that being said, he did decent. If he just puts a little bit of time into it and tries to develop a pitch other than just throwing it up over the plate for the other team to hit, does any work whatsoever to try to improve his softball game, he's probably a legitimate pitcher. But until then, and I do think he will do that, but sheer laziness has gotten in the way up until now.
Buy or sell. Mike didn't understand what he was doing when he signed up for intramural sports.
I'm gonna buy here. I was really confused. Like, I didn't think Mike liked softball that much, and then he confronted me about not being on the soccer team the next day, and I was like, "Well, Mike, you didn't sign up for the sport." So I really think he saw the two S's and just assumed the first S one that he saw was soccer, and signed up for softball instead of soccer.
I'd like to disagree with you, Brent. I just can't. I'm going to buy that as well. Facebook can be confusing, for older people, but I think Mike also falls into that category, just being a little absent-minded at times, and yeah, a Facebook poll, it's not like your normal Facebook event, so.
He's probably sleeping in one of his classes when he was doing it.
And you were groggy from waking up right afterward.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, this ends our edition of the Fall 2015 Sports Preview. We had a good segment here, and go pitch a tent, go Campers.
Go Campers! Thanks for joining us. See you next season.